across the city, across the state, and across the world. There's hundreds of thousands of teenagers, young adults that have made decisions that have led them into the wrong place. There's two roads that you can get on. The decisions that you make is what puts you on one of those roads. One of those roads leading to heaven, and the destination of one of those roads is hell. We saw tonight in the life of Marcos, in the life of Allison, mistakes, situations, things that they did that led them to two very different places. The good thing is that there's a place where you can switch from the path that the destination is hell and enter into a path where the destination is heaven. It doesn't matter where you've been, it doesn't matter what you've gone through. There's always an opportunity.
We start off by saying that we don't believe that there's any coincidences in life. We strongly believe that we know that God has brought you here tonight with a purpose. You could have been anywhere else in the world tonight, but God has brought you here. God, like He was saying, God has a plan, He has a purpose, but it depends on the decisions that we make. See, God is a gentleman. He will not force Himself upon any person. What you saw here tonight was a stage play, but it was a real life trauma. I wish that somebody would have shown me this when I was younger, and maybe I wouldn't have had to go through all the junk that I went through. Come from a background just like this, with family divorced, and night where I would come home and punch a hole in the wall just to get my parents from not killing each other, trying to divert their attention from their anger towards themselves and trying to get them to get angry at me to just prevent a death from occurring between my mom and my dad, which then turned to drugs, which led into an overdose, which then led to drug dealing, which led to getting arrested and coming out of the news in 1996, where the police were saying they were going to give me over 40 years in prison after the DEA picked me up at my house. Bottom line, it's not to talk about everything I've been through, but the most important part is there was a decision that I made in my life that is the reason that I am standing up here tonight talking to you, and I'm not just another statistic like many of my friends that are either dead or locked up in jail right now, or who knows where they're at right now. But let me tell you, it was a decision that I made to open my heart to God. Listen, I wasn't raised in church. I wasn't taught the Bible. When I surrendered my heart to Christ and I said, God, let me tell you my prayer that night. And 8 years ago, God, if you are real and your Son is really Jesus Christ, and it's not just a big story to tell, and it's not just a big fable, it's true. Your Son really died to set me free from all these drugs, from all these addictions, from all these anxiety, from this loneliness, from this emptiness inside. So let me tell you something real quick before I hand it over. That every drug, you cannot tell me that every drug you're doing, every abortion you've done, every girl or boy you have slept with is filling you on the inside and you're feeling true satisfaction. You cannot tell me that, because I've been there, done that, and every time that I did those things, somehow I felt a little worse than before I had done them. So let me tell you that you are here with a reason. And that is because God is knocking on the door of your heart. Some of you will be doing things after this night that you never imagined you'd be able to do, based off the decision that you made tonight.
There's this man driving a bus one day. It was one of those yellow school buses that had about 40 kids on it. They were driving down this steep hill. And as this bus driver was going down the hill with these kids on the bus, and the kids, if you've been on a school bus, they were playing and having a good old time, and they're going down the hill, and all of a sudden the driver started to pump the brakes to slow down and realize he had lost his brakes. The grade on the hill was so steep that the bus, with all of its inertia and all of the weight on it, just began to increase in its velocity and increase in its speed. And the kids started to scream and they began to panic. And this bus driver, he started to think in his mind, where can I slow the bus down? And he said, that's right, there's a clearing at the end. There's a fence at the end of this road that leads into a long clearing where if I can just make it to that gate, if I can just make it down under control, and I can make it to that gate, I can go through it and it will slow down in the big field. And as he was going down and his speed was increasing, he was getting it, he was about 50 yards, 40 yards, 30 yards, he was approaching that gate, and all of a sudden he realized that there was a little boy sitting on the gate. He flashed in his mind, if I move to the left and I move to the right, I'm going to flip this bus over, 40 kids are going to die. And he made the most difficult decision of just going through the gate and ramming into the boy. And the boy just died instantly. And the bus went into the clearing and slowed down. 40 children saved on that bus. The rescues got there within minutes. The rescues were there. The parents started getting there. Grandparents started getting there. Everybody was looking for their kids, crying, weeping, picking up their children. Their children had been spared. And everyone looked for the bus driver. They wanted to talk to the bus driver. They wanted to appreciate the bus driver. They wanted to say thank you to the bus driver. And the police officers would tell them, no. The bus driver had to be taken to the hospital. He's in severe shock. I said, yeah, it's understandable. He just had to kill a boy. It's like, no. See, you don't understand. The boy that was sitting on his fence was his son. That's what God did. God is driving a bus here, God, on earth, filled with passengers inside. Passengers going down the bus, minding their own business, doing their drugs, their sin, their sex outside of marriage, murder, abortion, doing all kinds of different things, not even realizing what was going on. And there was the boy. Perfect life. Didn't sin. Doing nothing wrong. Trying to honor his father. He gave his life to save the ones on the bus. Questions. Will you accept sacrifice? Will you accept the gift? Jesus in the skit said, Ephesians 2:8-9 says, by grace are ye saved through faith. Not your works. We saw the proud girl. She was thrown right into the pit of hell along with Marcos. Why? Because I did it to get glory. I did it for this. Churches sometimes are filled with people that their destination is still stamped with hell. Sitting in a church doesn't make you a Christian, just like sitting in a garage will never make you a car. I'm actually going to ask to raise the lights just a bit. I'm going to ask everyone to join me on their feet. We can put the house text just a little bit. I want everyone to stand. There is a gift that God has given every single one of us. And that gift's name is Jesus Christ. I'm going to ask everyone to bow their heads and close their eyes.